Welcome back, Jets fans. We are back with our fifth and final video in our series we're doing with Anth from Gangrene UK. We have been through the entire defense, putting it through a Jets lens. And last video we did the start of the offense. We did the offensive line, the tight ends, and the running backs. So this is the big one, Anth. This is the wide receivers and quarterbacks. It's the big one for a lot of people. There's a reason we're doing this one last. How are you, first of all? You good?
Yeah, always good, mate. Always good. This one's been the hardest one to do, I'm not going to lie.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. Well,
this is hard to stay very neutral on, is what I would say.
There's a lot of opinions floating about, and I'm glad we're doing this now because we've had a couple of days where we haven't been able to get together. So we've had a little bit of an enforced break on recording these videos. But since that break, of course, the Jets have hired a QB coach, which we can sort of, again, a bit of a clue as to when we're actually recording these. But that's literally happened within the last 24 hours, I think. So it changes things slightly. And you'll also notice that I'm wearing my Quincy Unanwa jersey as my favourite Jet player of all time. So I'm wearing his jersey and I've got the little helmet over my shoulder as well. I've made sure I've positioned it because we're going to talk about wide receivers and quarterbacks. So I wanted to fly the flag for my boy. It's going to be a fun one because I was thinking about this on the way home today, and I was thinking it's such an interesting little scenario we're in with the wide receivers, because if you'd asked a Jet fan 3 months ago, mid-season before the trades, how the wide receiver room was looking, you'd be like, well, dreadful, because Garrett's injured and Alan Lazard and a fourth-round rookie are pretty much our only other options. But since then, Mooj made a couple of really good trades. Obviously, Garrett's going to come back from injury. And obviously Lazard has gone critically. And then what we talked about last time with the new offensive coordinator, doing more in terms of involving more backs and more tight ends potentially in his setups, it sort of takes a lot of pressure off the wide receiver room, doesn't it? All those things together.
Yeah, you would imagine so. I mean, everything that the lens does is very speculative. It takes into account what people have done in the past, their tendencies, the people that have influenced them going back over. And with Frank Reich, obviously, there's such a vast background. I mean, he's been coaching for over, I think it's 20 years. And then he played prior to that. So you've got all these tendencies that he's going to like. But then equally bringing in Musgrove and Ryan and even keeping Glenn changes things just ever so slightly. I've just had to redo the lens to fit this new philosophy because it went a little bit too far away from where it was originally.
Right.
It hasn't changed the players. The players I'd already done.
Yeah.
It just changes some of the things that I personally think will move up the chart.
Right, in terms of fit and style.
Yeah, it's just there's certain things that I think when we had Tanner Edgerton, there was certain things that he really put as a premium, which is kind of a bit. It's not defunct now. It's just not as relevant. If we say.
Yeah, not within the NFL specifically, but for the Jets specifically.
Yeah, for what we're trying to do, I think it's a little bit done.
And that was always going to be the case, because remember that Engstrand only had, one season as an offensive coordinator, and prior to that he was a tight ends coach, wasn't he, in Detroit?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think he's a very good offensive coordinator, and I am putting in a little bit where I think that within this story that there are some players within the team that maybe aren't as on board as what people would like us to think.
With the change.
Yeah, and I think he's struggled with that. I mean, we know some of the players that we've got are very vocal. We know that they engage in things, or players that we should say. So if there was some trouble there, I mean, equally, LaFleur has proved that he was a good OC. Just it wasn't the system that we were running.
It wasn't the right fit. Yeah. So, and I think that's it. You've got to commit, haven't you, to if you're bringing a coach in, you've got to allow that coach to coach up the players that he wants to coach up in the way that he wants to coach them
as well. It's like I said last year. I mean, I said when we first signed Aaron Glenn that I would be surprised if he gets a third year. Just because people want to win now. However, nobody's talking about Darren Moody.
No.
He had a bye year. So why doesn't Aaron Glenn? Because...
Well, I think devil's advocate, mate. I think mostly Moody did a really good job with some of the high-profile trades and some of the lesser trades. Most people are relatively happy with we're going to get into the two receivers, but also the defensive tackles that he brought in, the value he got for Source, the value he got for Quinnen. So I think he's done enough good things to not be on the hot seat, whereas AG's not had a lot of the play calling hasn't looked great, and obviously now we know there were obviously bigger problems because both coordinators were new last year and they've both gone.
Yeah.
So
100%.
There were loads of problems.
But that's exactly why this section has kind of twisted a little bit, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where do you want to start with this one? Because
yeah, it's a good one. So we'll do wide receivers first because I think we're going to talk about quarterbacks for a little bit of it because there's a lot going on, and I actually don't think wide receivers might not take us that long. The guys in the building, obviously, Arian Smith is a 4th round rookie last year. So with the value he represents and what he's done on special teams and the strength of the rest of the room, obviously post free agency and post the draft and what we're doing there, he's kind of safe for now. And just in terms of what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And then obviously traded for Adonai Mitchell and Garrett Wilson's going nowhere. I guess John Mechie is the one. He's an impending free agent, right? So
yeah, I mean, Mechie is the guy that technically on the depth chart is a starting slot receiver.
Yeah.
And that means that he is going to be available to people. Josh Reynolds is another one available. Charles Irvin and Tyler Johnson. Everybody else in our wide receiver room is under contract. So you would assume that at the moment, like you say, most of them guys are safe.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Go on, you're gonna hit me with a curveball, or I'll tell you what. Let's just focus on fit because it is a different system. So just on fit, the guys that are under contract. Let's park the guys, your Garretts, and let's park your impending free agents. Who under contract? Is there anyone that concerns you in terms of fit?
Under contract?
Yeah.
Yes. Adonai Mitchell.
Okay, interesting.
Now,
it's too late, mate. I've bought his jersey already.
But also, like, out of the 4, we'll call them the main 4 at the minute, right? Which is Adonai Mitchell, Garrett Wilson, John Mechie, and Arian Smith.
Yeah.
Arian Smith should not be on the Jets next year.
Yeah.
And not
based
for any
on
other
fit and based on what Reich wants to do.
Yeah, so the way Reich plays is he's very kind of structured. This is your role, you do it. When the opportunity shows itself, you take it. There's not very much variation, and he doesn't put a lot of stock in these one-trick speed ponies. So with Arian Smith, he's a vertical speed threat. He doesn't offer much else at the moment. We know that he had questionable hands, but his timing for a quarterback limited. He's just a goal guy. That is a big red flag for Reich. He is all about timing. His effort and his toughness, reliability, mid. We've seen him go down off little knocks, but it's mid. We can get past that. His roster logic, does he fit within the way that needs to be listed for Muji? I think he's redundant. I'll be honest with you.
What about on special teams, though? He offers something on special teams.
Does he?
Well, I mean, he did bits last year on.
But equally,
I don't want to sound like I'm apologising for the lads, you know.
No, it's one of those. My thing is that he hasn't shown enough last year with his timing and his routes within structure to go. You can play. He hasn't done enough yet.
He's not a wide receiver 3 or even 4. He's probably wide receiver 5 and special teams.
He's your depth.
Yeah.
But Irvin Charles, who is a free agent, he is limited with his QB, very similar to Arian Smith, but he's a fringe overall fit because he can play special teams in a different format. We don't need him to be a gunner and get down there first. We've got Moore and people like that for that. Like I say, with the QBs, it does go a little bit different.
And we don't know.
As you can probably imagine,
QB yet, but
Garrett Wilson is green across the board.
Yeah.
Like, people will want to call him a number 1. We know I don't agree with that, but it's fine.
We'll get into that in a minute because I think your take on that is actually really interesting. But I think if we can sort of put a broad strokes paintbrush over it, if you looked at it 3 months ago and said, "What's the room like?" you'd be like, "Okay, urgent. We need to get some bodies in there." If you look at it right now, as of today, it's not that bad.
No.
And the guys that are on the
take what I'm saying as bad. There are 2 players that drop red flags. We've mentioned both of them.
Yeah.
However, what I didn't mention is Tyler Johnson is a complete green flag right across the board.
Really, great.
Exactly the same as Garrett Wilson as a slot Z. He's got strong timing with the QBs, proven that time and time again. His toughness and reliability is great. He's very cost effective.
Yeah.
He's not expensive.
That was sort of my point with Arian Smith. It's cost effectiveness with his contract, with his rookie contract,
Yeah, and then his routes are so much better. And like, he comes from that background of it's discipline. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Tyler come in and be that 4-5.
4-5 wide receiver. Arian Smith then becomes 5-6.
Yeah. He might even push out.
What happens with Mechie? Do you think Mechie gets re-signed?
So he's one of those where, as a slot player, he's pretty strong. I wouldn't say he's elite, but technically, in the slot, he's a timing friendly, reliable kind of. He gets the separation. We just need to make sure, 1, he's fully healthy, and 2, that he still wants to play.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the other elephant in the room is that because he's an unrestricted free agent, right? He's not an RFA; he's a URFA.
Yeah, I think he's U.
So there are going to be other teams looking for a slot receiver, and his name's going to be on their list. So it might be one of these situations where we get priced out. Not to say he's going to earn loads of money, but that we can do better financially than Mechie. So there's a chance we need to replace him. And there's a chance we need to add in maybe another sort of wide receiver, 1/2.
So that's the other thing that I kind of want to cover on this, right? Because we talk about this, right, where we go wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and then we talk about all the positions. Now, everybody will have heard like an X receiver, like the boundary alpha, the guy that goes
on
the line of scrimmage and he breaks, right? That's brilliant. They have to beat press, and go for it, right? Great. It's great to have them. Then you've got a Z. That's the Arian Smith style, like stretch the field. They'll be in movement. They'll be off the line, normally field side with loads of space. You know, like those guys. We need them still. The slot is the interior coverage solver.
Yeah.
Like they're inside. They'll play probably inside the numbers, just off the line. And they're an outlet, but they're also decent blockers. Then we also have an F receiver.
Okay, what's an F receiver?
So an F receiver is like an overlap of slot and Z. So they'll be in movement a lot.
But with speed, because the Z is the key in terms of having be able to play Z. You have to have that downfield speed.
Pretty fast, but also they've got to be quite football intelligent. because you might be asking them to line up as a slot but run, move, and go Z. These are the ones where Reich puts them in and goes, right, nobody is expecting you to get the ball right now. Every play that you're on in that position, they are terrified that you're going to get the ball because they can't cover. They're going to have a linebacker covering a speed guy or some. It's offsets a lot. But then we will also, at some point, look at a big slot.
Yeah.
Which is when we were talking about tight ends, you'll remember me saying,
this is my boys. Yeah,
he likes to play people out of position a little bit, and he'll put a tight end in as a slot. Who we know if they get the space they can catch, but there will be blocking. It'll skew matchups.
And I think this is the thing that we're missing is a big-bodied receiver who can do that because Garrett, elite skill. Route running is incredible. His hands are incredible, but he's not a big-bodied guy. AD Mitchell's not a big-bodied guy. Arian Smith isn't. You know what I mean? So we don't really have that. And I'm wearing a Quincy Unward jersey. I've flown the flag for the big-bodied receivers for a while. I like them. That's kind of my style. So I want to be careful not to be too biased. But to me, I would say that's the biggest miss from the receiver room.
And then the two other ones that we'll want, which are a rotational Z, or we call them wide receiver 4.
Yeah.
Who they can slide in and out. The main trait that this person must have is not speed, it's good hands.
Right. So that's where Arian Smith gets ruled out of that slot.
Yeah.
That usually slot's the wrong one to you.
We can't have somebody who can have mental mistakes that causes issues when we're putting them in to give guys a rest, because then what's going to happen is we're going to feel like we need to have Garrett on there 24/7.
Yeah.
And that's how we know Garrett gets hurt, because he gets hit.
He gets hit too much because he gets targeted too much.
We do want that fast guy as a situational wide receiver. So that will come in a little bit.
Okay. So potentially 2 wide receivers, but certainly 1.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see them take 3. I think 1 in free agency.
Across free agency and the draft.
And then 2 in the draft, yeah.
So just to be clear then, you think Johnson's safe? Contract-wise, Arian Smith, maybe in special teams, sticks around, but maybe he's not really considered in the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
Garrett's sticking around, obviously, and AD Mitchell's sticking around, and Mechie is a bubble guy.
Yeah, but I would also like to see them re-sign Josh Reynolds.
Okay.
As a vet in the room.
Yeah.
He's green across the board. He knows his job. He fits right. He's an old head.
Yeah.
He's disciplined. He runs crisp routes. He is not a superstar. He may not even play that many snaps. But if you're bringing somebody into the league that needs that little bit of development, you've got Garrett, who, let's face it, Garrett's a vet now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You've got Reynolds.
I was going to say that. Garrett should be the leader in that room.
Yeah, 100%. However, we know that Garrett equally has got young tendencies, we'll say.
Yeah. I know what you're getting at. I think he's such a big part of the old regime, and it's such a big sea change into the new regime. How he has to handle that, because he was very much a darling rookie and young player out of the old regime, and now he's got to change regimes and also mature and become a presence within the locker room. So it's quite a big ask for him to do that mentally. But let's talk about some names. We'll get into the draft, which is where obviously the focus is for the Lens. But just briefly, is there anyone in free agency that sort of floats? I say your boat, but really it's Frank Reich's boat, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. There is loads of wide receivers, but whether we're in on them is another question. I mean, we've got George Pickens is available.
He's going to go back to Dallas, realistically, isn't he?
Yeah, and Romeo Doubs from Green Bay.
Yeah.
You got Van Jefferson, who's an interesting one. He's at the Titans currently, but he's a little bit
fit.
older. So yeah, there's a couple out there. I mean, there's none that I'm like going, I want
back
you.
up the truck for this
guy.
Yeah,
I don't want to fight for anybody right now.
I've heard a lot of Jets fans talk about Pierce from the Colts, and obviously the logic of Frank Reich being on the Colts as well, and there's some logic there, but again, realistically, the Colts are going to pay him.
You would think so.
All right, let's get into the draft then. Just like we did last time. Obviously, we got 2 first-round picks. We've got the one right up at the top. So first, simple, easy question, hopefully. Are there any wide receivers you could see the Jets taking at 2, specifically at 2?
I don't think so. However, would I be upset if they took any of the top 3 if they're in love with them? Nope.
And the top 3, just to be clear, Jordan Tyson, Tate from Ohio,
yep,
and Mekhi Lemon. Is he the third one?
Yeah, I would have Lemon probably just ahead of Boston.
Boston, yeah. So, so obviously at 2, if they take him one at 2, it's a trade back to maybe get one at 3, 4, or 5. But realistically, 16 is a bit of a sweet spot for wide receiver for the Jets, isn't it?
Yeah, you would think that 16, at least, I think there'll only be maybe 1 or 2 of those guys gone. So you're still getting, if all 4 of the first 4 aren't on the big board in any rotational order, where they're like, if one of those guys falls to us, we're happy. Because ultimately, all 3 of them play a very, very similar role as well. They're all slot Zeds, which is exactly what Reich likes.
Yeah.
Apart from Denzel Boston's a boundary X, and Carnell Tate plays a little bit of X2.
Yeah.
They're all very QB connected.
Yeah.
Like great timing. Most of them are consistent winners when in contested balls and routes.
Yeah.
The top 4 play-by-play are all kind of reliable. Lemon and Tyson, they're situational. They can fall off a little bit. So I do have a few questions on them in certain setups.
Right.
But overall, as players, I think all of them are solid. Now, Tate, for me, he's an X-chain mover. He's going to get you yards.
So he's a wide receiver 1 for you?
No. I would class him as Garrett like a wide receiver 2.
Sorry, I meant within the draft class. He's your wide receiver 1.
He would be wide receiver 1 of football ability. Yeah. NFL ability, I would probably have him in top 5, not number 1.
Okay.
But I also don't know who I would have at number 1, but I just don't feel Tate is that guy. He's got a very, very high floor, but I don't know if he'll ever get much higher than that.
Okay. I got to say, it's a class that I'm personally particularly excited about because there are quite a lot of these big-bodied guys, and there's a few that are going to potentially drop into the second round. They could go late first. I don't think that the big 3 everyone's talking about, they'll be gone by 33. There's half a chance that, your Denzel Bostons are going to be there. You've got Surratt. You've got a few others as well. So I'm sort of personally, I'm quite excited about potentially waiting for the early second round one to get a receiver. But that depends on how the board falls. So I guess I'd say in terms of second round talent, so in your range of sort of 30 to 50, is there anyone that stands out as a good fit within this?
I'm going to go to my list and just go to 30 to 50 because I think that there is a couple.
Now.
But the one that I'm kind of like leaning in on, I'll be honest with you, is just before that, and I've got him ranked at about 26.
Okay.
So it would be a reach at 16.
But it might be a trade back in from 33. It might be a
trade back in, or
a trade back from 16.
Yeah, this guy may drop.
Okay.
And the guy that I'm quite liking is KJ Concepcion from Texas A&M.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a slot Z player, great with QBs. All of his routes are functional. He wins when it's scheduled to win. He doesn't he's not gonna pull off a one-handed catch over the top of somebody's head because the QB threw it wrong. He's just gonna leave that. But super reliable. He's a safety
Every
valve.
Jets fan just heard you say because the QB threw it wrong and just had immediate palpitations about about that sentence. Go on.
Yeah, so the thing is as well with KJ, I don't know if he's a day one starter.
Okay.
I personally think he's probably closer to a early contributor. He might come in situations to start with and then go from there. And then you're like, ooh, I kind of like that. And then
I guess he's one that if you keep your powder dry and you take the risk and you wait and then you get to 33 and conception's dropped, great. Do you know what I mean? Or Surratt or oh my goodness, I just mentioned him a second ago. But Boston. Yeah, so there are a few in there. Let's go further back. Let's talk about this idea of trading back to a third rounder or taking one in the fourth rounder. That sort of mid-range pick that we've spoken about. Are there any names that jump out to you there as
Right, so I'll be honest with you. I was talking last night to Fraser.
Oh yeah, good.
About the wide receiver class. And we both had really high hopes of this class. And we think it might go down as one of the weakest classes that's ever been.
Really?
There is probably 6, 7 in the whole draft that you would go.
They're worth taking with a top 100 pick. Yeah.
However, with the lens, we're not viewing them on statistics. What we're viewing them on is things that they've shown that match what teams are looking for.
Yeah. And the Jets specifically, yeah.
So when I look at risk profile, which I do enjoy looking at the risk profile.
Of course you do.
Because it's completely made up. However, it's slightly metered. So it looks at it and goes, right, this player, if they are in the right system and they are guided well, which is why I'm talking about keeping the old hats, they become managed too low, or they are not bad fits, we'll say. There isn't many that I would go, nope, stay away from them.
Okay.
But there is a couple depending on what we're looking for. So, for example, if we're being honest and we look at where the Jets are going to be having them, we need starter capable players or rotational. We can't do situational. We do not have that luxury.
Yeah. We need people who can play in multiple different styles as a receiver.
So there is one player, right? You're going to love this, by the way. I have him at wide receiver 14.
14, 1-4. Wow, okay, so this is a late guy. This is going to be 100 and something.
He's not as late as you would imagine because wide receivers carry a premium, we'll say, especially in this draft when there's no QBs. So this is about 93.
Okay.
So early third round.
Yeah, so again, you might get him at 103, 104.
Yeah,
you might trade up a little bit, yeah.
It might, and that's Malachi Fields from Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, obviously Notre Dame, I'm going to be a fan, but
yeah so he's a boundary XZ guy, constant winner in his routes. If you put him, you can play him in a structured kind of X role. He needs a defined tree. So we can't be going, you're going to play this position, then this position, then this position.
Yeah.
That's not going to help him.
This is your role, stick to it. But then that fits with what Frank Reich likes to do.
Yeah. He's very, very low risk, and I kind of like that. He's one of the guys I've got as starter capable. He's the last starter capable within this Jets lens, and there are 33. So 14 of them
total. So another 17, 18, 19 players, wide receivers after that you think aren't going to be starters.
No, they're all I mean, they've all got potential because let's
Yeah,
face
well,
it.
any player in the draft has potential by definition.
Yeah, they are going to go into the league as a depth player.
Okay. Throw
And
me
they have to
before
earn
we
their
move on to
spot.
quarterback, mate. Throw me one. Throw me one in the 200s. Throw me one we could get in the 200s. You know, a 7th rounder. Is there anyone in there that you're like, do you know what? Because Malachi Filter's a great kind of like mid-round dart throw as a potential starter. But what about somebody who could be the new Robbie Anderson, like undrafted free agent or late round receiver that blows everybody's socks off?
Right, so there's one I'm looking at here. I am just going to check because this is way down. Right. He's a Z slot player.
Okay, good.
Very kind of neutral, like QBs can take or leave it, like his routes aren't perfect. Great in matchups. He's a depth piece. We would have to coach the living crap out of him.
Which is something the Jets are notoriously good at.
Well, wide receivers were not terrible, but very good in certain role routes, can do that. Situationally, play by play, he's great. He comes from TCU.
Okay.
Which I do feel.
Quentin Johnson was TCU, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Eric McAllister.
Okay.
I've got him around about.
Never heard of him, I'll be honest.
Mid 7th rounder.
Great. So he's a guy you could go, right, brilliant, let's get him before he drops into UDFA.
Yeah, he's somebody that I would probably, if they're there and he does well at the combine, which I have a feeling TCU guys tend to do well at pro days and combines.
What's his frame? What's his have you got?
I'll be honest with you, I know very, very little about the guy outside of the lens.
Right, so you just put him through the lens and he's
yeah, I mean, I can find out a little bit more.
Yeah. No, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. Listen, I think it's good for people to do their own digging. And like we said, we've said this on every single video, that I'm sure there'll be other players like 6th, 7th, 5th rounders that people have been mock drafting to themselves and they're going to go, oh, Anth, what about this guy? And like we always say, stick it in the comments and then you'll put it through the lens for them.
Yeah. So my one line on him from the lens is a steady assignment sound receiver whose NFL value lies within depth reliability rather than separation or playmaking.
Okay. So one to listen out for on draft day, one to have a play on your mock drafts and see where you can get him.
I know because you've made me highlight him now. You know he's going to end up at somebody like the Bills. He's going to become a bin. But yeah, that's kind of like this wide receiver class. Don't get me wrong, the end of this month might change everything. Somebody might stand out at the combine. But at the moment, just on the lens, I'm a little bit like, don't love it.
But look, this is what it's for. This is what this video series is for, so people can watch the combine with more interest and look out for these guys and watch the other draft videos and look at the analysis of all these experts coming in and obviously then say, well, you know, I think what you get with a lot of these experts is they talk about players and they rank them based on their ability on the field, but very few people are doing it for specifically the Jets system. And I think that's what they've done.
I mean, I've watched more snippets of podcasts than I've ever watched in my life. You know, I'm not a podcast guy. But I've been intrigued at whether this is bringing out any views that the experts and the people that are paid to do this type of thing are doing. And I'll be honest, a lot of what I'm saying, I am seeing elsewhere. The lens works within a guide. It doesn't so much become foolproof. I'm not saying this is what the Jets are doing.
Nothing ever is. There's way too many X factors, no pun intended, with players not settling in areas, not settling with coaches, not settling with teammates. There's so many reasons why players don't do in the NFL what they did in college, and that's the problem with the draft. If it was we wouldn't be getting Marzi Smith, a former first rounder, for change on the Quinnen Williams trade. If the the draft was an exact science. So nobody expects that. We've done just over half an hour on receivers. So let's stop everybody banging on the table and screaming, when are you going to start talking about quarterbacks? And let's move on, because we need to leave time for me to talk to you about my darling of the 7th round as well, who we'll get onto. But let's talk quarterback. Guys in the room, obviously Tyrod, Justin, and Brady Cook. Quickly go through any of those have any chance at all of being a starter for the Jets next year?
I'll be honest with you. I think whichever stays will play one game as a starter at least.
Right.
Due to injuries and
but
just...
But the
it
chances
might
are...
even be a week 18 starter because we've already locked up the playoffs.
Yeah, there you go. Brady Cook gets one more snap and throws a 600-yard game. One more
We've seen it with Mike White.
Why not? So look, let's park that and go, look, the Justin Fields experiment has largely failed. Brady Cook's an undrafted free agent, so he's already done more than most of us expected of him at the start of last season. Tyrod Taylor is Tyrod Taylor. We're not reinventing the wheel by talking about him. So let's get into the couple of names that are going to be they're going to come up in the comments section, I'm sure. Kirk Cousins and of course Derek Carr, who's coming out of retirement. I mean, the Derek Carr news is maybe, yeah, all right, but let's work on the assumption that by the time this video comes out, we know one way or the other. Either of those float your boat in terms of fitting within the right system? They've both got experience, bucket loads of experience in the NFL, and they'd both be immediate starters on the Jets, right?
Yeah, both can start. I'll be honest with you. If we interview Kirk Cousins, whoever does the interview needs sacking.
Right.
Because every interview he's done recently, he's pretty much said he's out for money. He's not going to use the Jets again. He's done that once in his career.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any which way that we bring him in and pay him probably what he's going to want to be paid, I'll be honest.
Because we're already paying Rodgers and Fields.
I mean, yeah, I think we're paying more for our non-playing QBs than we will pay for our playing QBs.
Yeah, that's going to be the case.
Brady Cook is almost safe to be a third. I could see Hendon Hooker staying as a fourth, like re-signing as a fourth on a minimum, mainly because there is kind of synergy with what he can do in a situational side. When it comes to Derek Carr, like the main thing that this Reich Musgrave kind of thing is going to do is we need a full field processor who has good control and doesn't turn the ball over much. Now, you look at Derek Carr when he hasn't been injured. Derek Carr is capable.
100%.
Unfortunately, he was injured in New Orleans, and I think he tried to play through it, which that to me is a huge red flag on any player.
Yeah, but then he's had this time. He's had this time out.
Oh
retired.
No,
his body's recovered.
100% fit. He's been cleared of everything. He can come back, and we've seen it where people have took a year, come back, and they've lit the light up. Do I think he'll light the world up? Absolutely not.
Doesn't need to.
But you know what we've learned this week? You can have a QB who doesn't light the world up win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be upset with Derek Carr, but equally I wouldn't be setting off streamers. I'm not gonna.
I remember when the Rodgers stuff was coming around, and obviously Derek Carr was the other name in the hat then. And I remember me and Nigel, Big Nigel, at the Hippodrome, where I do the London watch parties. He and I were waving the flag for Derek Carr more than anybody else. So there's a piece of me that wants to revisit it for that reason, and possibly a little bit foolhardy because it's 3 years later, and a lot's gone on since then. But nobody thinks Derek Carr's the long-term solution. If he comes in, he'd be the bridge quarterback for the 2027 draft, and that's whoever comes in is going to be that. So
whoever comes in is going to get 2 years.
Sure, because the draftee is going to need to sit behind somebody.
To sit behind, and then you probably want to start them. Like if we draft this year, which we'll get into, you've got to give them every chance of they might not develop. There's genuinely, if Mendoza, we'll jump in because Mendoza's going to come up. If Mendoza starts at the wrong time this year, he gets banged up, gets injured. This draft could genuinely be a 0 longevity QB draft.
Apart from my boy in the 7th round, who's going to be a legend.
Apart from your 7th rounder, which, yeah.
I have one every year, don't I? Every year I have a quarterback.
To be fair, he got on a team last year, so I'm more than happy to listen to this one.
Okay. We'll jump into draft in a second. Very, very quickly, because obviously Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins is going to be released. What about? Is there anybody worth trading for? I know Brissett's been mentioned as a obviously former Colt under Reich. Is he someone or anyone else? You can say no.
Wise, I don't love the trade.
Yeah, because of what you'd have to give up for him.
Yeah, we'd have to give up for a bridge, which the bridges in free agency. Like for me, if Malik Willis hits free, we would look. I'm hoping that they don't look at Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, I think most of us are.
But
like you say, it's whoever. All of those names are max 2-year. Basically, what we said about Justin Fields last year. They're max 2-year starters till we can draft somebody. They're not the long-term solution. No. So let's go into the draft then. Mendoza's going to go to the Raiders. If he doesn't, if the Raiders are stupid and he drops to 2, you take him.
Yeah, and sit him.
Yeah, right. And is he a good fit?
Mendoza will fit in any team because he's that type of player.
Yeah, and his mentality is right.
Yeah, you've got to kind of think his intelligence level is high. Like the kid graduated university early, twice.
Yeah.
So he's already now taking like a 3rd degree.
Yeah.
You're like, and he's played football and he's been a starter for multiple years. Like, I when I first kind of got into Mendoza and we were looking at him, we're talking like the beginning of this season. And I always like to disagree with Fraser, so
just for sport.
It's a sport that we do. We always get behind somebody and we always try and like kind of go. But Mendoza is one of them where he's been solid, right?
It's hard to argue with him as a first overall pick. He's almost certainly not going to drop to the Jets at 2. So there's not a huge amount of point in focusing on him. Obviously, Moore's gone back to college. The next name on most people's list is Ty Simpson. We're not going to take Ty Simpson at 2. If we do take him, realistically, it's either 16 or 33 because he isn't going to get any further than that. Someone's going to take a risk on him.
I'll be honest. Outside of Mendoza, I can't see anybody going at 2 at QB.
No, I don't. I can't see that. No.
I wouldn't be shocked if we do a little cheeky trade back if somebody is in love with somebody. I mean, obviously we did linebackers first. And with some of the other changes we've made since that video, I am not as high on Avril Reese at 2 as I have been. Not because I like anybody more, just I like him less now.
Right, so there's the trade back is suddenly the number one.
Yeah, trade back. I wouldn't be upset
if it's
with.
There. Okay.
Yeah,
all right, interesting.
And it might not be there. However, I will say about Mendoza, I know it's unlikely that we get him. However, people said this about Sam Darnold because Baker Mayfield was not the number 1 pick that year. Sam Darnold was at this point.
Yeah,
and we ended up
absolutely. But then, no one knows. It's
so,
everything's there.
A lot of people were like, Mendoza's too PR groomed. He's too pure to be in a dirty city. And I kind of get where they were coming from. He's a really nice kid. I mean, it's kind of like, the 8 Mile rap. He's like, lives at home with both of his parents, and they've got a really good marriage. All of that, right? And I understand why people dislike that. It's a jealousy thing. Like, he technically has a great upbringing, which is not often you hear in the NFL. But when he was on Pat McAfee,
he's really
first
impressive.
Time I've saw him be interviewed and it come across as very human and very him. And Pat McAfee said, right, when you're just with the boys and you're having a drink, he went, what's your choice? What are you going to? And he literally went, well, you've got to remember, guys, I'm still a student. And we're going to talk about before the NIL days when I was at Cal. He went, and I'll be honest with you, it was whatever would get me there. He went, and I'm not too big to say, I have drank some questionable things to get me there. And I was just like, that is the Mendoza we need to see more of.
Yeah.
Because
that more human side of him.
Yeah.
And that stuff will come out.
And that's what I'm excited for with these QBs, because there are a couple in there that are very interesting now.
Well, let's get on to that, because it's such an interesting class. I think it's a really interesting class because there aren't a queue of quarterbacks going in the first 4 or 5 picks. It's definitely going to be late second rounders, third rounders, fourth rounders, fifth rounders, and some of these guys, obviously Trinidad Chambliss has kind of come out of nowhere almost for a lot of people. But then you've also got guys like Drew Aller and Garrett Nussmeier who were projected to be much higher picks last year and have dropped off. And then you've got Carson Beck, who's projected to be a much higher pick 2 years ago and has dropped off. So you've got a really interesting class in terms of there's every year there is a quarterback that goes in the third, fourth, fifth round later that does better than people anticipate.
Yeah, there's always people that land in the perfect situation.
Yeah. So that's the key with the lens.
Yes.
Based on the lens and based on these quarterbacks, the names we just throw up and any others you want to throw in there, in that sort of mid-round area, who's the one that Jets fans should be going, he fits, and for a third or a fourth, maybe even that second round pick, it's worth the risk.
I mean, there's a few that are low risk. You are going to get what you're going to get. Yeah. Now, they are very much backups to threes. They are not starters.
Yeah.
Might they get there? Maybe, but we're talking these guys could, at best at the moment, I'd say for their career, they would be high battling twos.
Mm-hmm.
I won't name them yet because I know one of them is going to be your guy. However, if we're going to talk about players that fit really well, we know that Reich likes high level processes.
Mm-hmm.
So for the high levels, there are 2 that are mid rounders, which is Garrett Nussmeier and Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Now, you know this from chats we've had on pods and everything. I pull Carson Beck as a tight fit for the Jets. Under Tanner. Under AG without Tanner. Without AG and without Tanner.
Yeah.
Carson Beck ticks all of the boxes of what the New York Jets like.
Yeah.
Is there red flags? Absolutely.
Of course there are. But if there weren't red flags, he'd be going in the first round.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that he needs is structure.
Mm-hmm.
And with structure, he could do Jackson Dart and start mid-season.
Yeah.
Like, when the season's maybe...
The thing I'd say about Beck as well, just to chime in on him, is I think there's very few quarterbacks that come out of the college that I think could handle New York right away because of the New York media. And we saw it with Sam. We all love Sam, but he couldn't handle New York. I look at Mendoza and I think he can handle New York with all the reasons we just talked about. Beck's another one, maybe for possibly all the wrong reasons. He's got that Baker Mayfield kind of like cocksure attitude that makes me think, 100%. No, he's not gonna bat an eyelid at whatever the New York media says about him.
And I think that's what we're in need of that we've not had for a long time. And
every quarterback who's ever succeeded in New York has had that some sort of mentality. Obviously, Eli, he came from that pressure cooker family tree.
Also, Eli dropped his balls on the table and went, I'm not going where I'm drafted.
100%. Yeah.
So
and Jackson Dart's that blue collar guy. Joe Namath is well, we all know what Joe Namath is.
Well,
He's a superstar.
Joe changed the game, and that's one of those things that now, I mean, this is one of the pages within the actual 291 I do have to change because of yesterday's hire. But it doesn't change how these guys fit. And Carson fits quite well. As much as I've always said, personally, I hate the move.
To go draft
I do not like the idea of drafting him in like 103, which is where it would probably take for me to even consider it. But the one thing I will say is I'm completely off the table with Trinidad Chambliss.
Okay.
If I'm an NFL GM, which I'm not, I would bring him in for an interview to find out if this kid actually wants to play football.
He doesn't look like he wants to be in the NFL. All he's saying about, I want to go back to college. And
I want to go back to college. I want to play, because he wants more money, and he knows he's going to be a fourth rounder. So the likeliness is he's going to have to work 10 times harder. And then, I mean, he wasn't even meant to be a starter at Mississippi this year, at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
He was forced into it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Look, the guy's got the tools. The other one I like, no one's talked about for the Jets is Taylor Green of Arkansas, who I think has got the tools to. He can either be Lamar Jackson or he could be Justin Fields, and you know what I mean, and nothing in between. So he's another one that it's a dart throw. He's not my guy, by the way.
I think I know who your guy is.
Carson Beck, I hear what you're saying. I agree with you. Garrett Nussmeier, quickly, let's talk about him as a fit.
Like, you've got to think, Garrett Nussmeier is from a football family. His dad's the OC at the Saints. This kid has grown up around football. He proved at college he can do it. I mean, let's face it, we can't judge him on last year.
No.
I think he was injured, came back from injury, but he was also playing in an LSU team that essentially wanted to set itself on fire.
Yeah.
And equally, they had a massive loss at the beginning of the season where they lost a friend. That throws that season completely through. Now, I've seen Garrett play live, and I think he's very, very solid. I don't think he's a superstar, but he sees the field really well. He needs support. He needs to know that line's got him protected.
Yeah.
He needs almost like an easy playbook that is very outlined, which is what Reich does. He can fit us very well, and I wouldn't be thrilled with a high pick on him, but I could get over that one.
I think I'm the same with him as well. Again, same thing. We talked about the Manning thing of coming from football family and therefore not being surprised by what the NFL is going to throw at you. And Nussmeier's the same thing. And I think I'm in this. I think similar to you. If either of those guys is brought in at 103 or 104, whatever that pick is, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be ecstatic if we drafted them at 44. I think that's a little rich for both those guys, given that's our second round pick. If it's a trade back into the third round and we get them in the third round, it's a bit of a reach. But again, I'm fine with it if it's because the expectation.
I'll be honest. In this draft, if your player is there at the point when you're picking,
you take him.
We have to pick them because this draft, it's going to turn into a crapshoot.
Yeah.
There are going to be players...
A lot of dart throws.
Yeah, jumping off the board a lot earlier than most people think. Now, in the QBs, just to cover just before, like, obviously we go on to other bits, Drew Aller, Caleb Klubnik, Ty Simpson all have chances in this league.
Yeah.
They need to be developed.
Yeah.
Now,
none of them are starters.
No, Drew Aller could be later on this season, the same as Ty Simpson. Klubnik, I think, is going to take a little bit more, and I think deep down in my soul, I think he's probably going to be a number 2 for a bit. But he's got great rhythm and great movement, which I kind of like. The one player I think he fits attitude. But I genuinely don't want him anywhere near the Jets, and that's
Who's
Diego
that?
Pavia.
Yeah, Pavia. Yeah.
Like,
The height concerns are the main thing with him.
the same thing with Pavia is the same thing with Chambly. Chambly had the most passes batted down at the line of scrimmage than any QB in college football last year. We've got a massive line. Me and you have met some of our O-line. Like, me and you
like having you at quarterback throwing the ball over those guys. That's a hell of an arc, that.
I mean, I think Diego Pavia is shorter than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, I'm not taking anything away from the guy. We wish the guy success, but there is a worry, and it's a fascinating thing about this draft is this. We've just thrown some names out: Klubnik and Alar and Nussmeier and Beck and Green and Pavia and all these guys. Like all of them, every single one of them, if they land in the right system and things break their way, all of them could be starters in the NFL at some point.
We've seen it over years. I mean, even as high as 32 pick with Lamar Jackson, people will call him a running back. He's proved them wrong. 2 MVPs. Yeah. I mean, still can't win in the playoffs, but it's better fun to watch him than some of what we've had to watch.
Some of the guys we've had, yeah.
Now, that's a big thing, right? What I will say, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, and Garrett Nussmeier all stayed in school like Dante Moore did.
Mm-hmm.
And every one of them have had something that's dropped them down.
Yeah.
I think Dante Moore may have cost himself millions.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, he's been paid a lot to stay in college, but it's different to what you were saying earlier with, I can't remember what you were talking about with it. Oh, with Chambliss, because he wouldn't be going in the fourth round. He'd be going in the first round if he'd come out this year. He'd have got paid a lot.
With the guys that are coming out next year, your Archmannings, your Sains,
yeah, it's a silly decision.
5 or 6 more. You're still risking that you're going to be better than them 5 or 6, which they're all on an upward trajectory, and Dante Moore is kind of like flattening out. He's at the end of his college growth, I think. Yeah. So the QB class, very, very dependent on meetings and
situation.
Combine.
Yeah, 100%. But it's an interesting one because there's so many names that, like I said, they could end up going in the 4th, 5th, 6th round and end up actually landing in the perfect spot, and not from day one, but becoming a starter for a team. And in a few years' time, we might be sitting there going, "Wow, that guy went in the 4th round. That guy, we got that guy in the 4th round, or this other team drafted that guy in the 4th round. Why didn't we take him when we were at 104 or whatever?" Do you know what I mean? It's going to be one of those drafts. There'll be somebody, and that brings me on. Almost cometh the hour, cometh the man. Last year, I fell in love with a late round QB. He ended up on a roster. He's not started, I don't think, but
he's played a little bit.
Played a little bit, but a long way to go. But my boy this year, do you know what? You know. So I'm going to let you reveal.
No, I'm going to let you because I can't actually remember his name, but I know who it is because
We've had the conversation. How say you a monstrous 6'4" quarterback with a rocket arm and accuracy available in the 7th round just because the small tiniest factor of him being a Division II quarterback, and that is Jack Strand. Jack Strand, who is on most draft boards 230 to 250, somewhere around there.
I'll be honest with you, he's not even in my top 11 QBs.
Not even in your top 11 QBs.
He's not in my top 250. But equally, you know this because we talked about this prior. When I put him in the lens, it actually changed him to a tight end.
Yeah.
Which, this is what happened to Travis Kelce at school. For very different reasons, I might add. But, no, I mean, the guy's got all the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of hoping you'd change your mind and you'd gone to Miller Moss.
Miller Moss. No, I haven't. No, I'm sticking, mate. Jack Strand all the way.
What
There's
I will
something about the name. There's something about the story, the lore of the Division II, because these guys don't get scouted as much.
No, they don't.
They don't get scouted as much. So if you're going to get a UDFA, a Brock Purdy, or someone like that who's just going to, and just imagine like the statistics of the guy. Everything ticks every box apart from that one box which says Division II quarterback.
Yeah, well, this is how I feel about Miller Moss.
Tell me about Miller Moss.
Right, is a Louisville quarterback.
Okay.
Right, which equally questionable. But he's very timing. He's a timing-based distributor, which is what Frank plays. Great processor. His accuracy, he is consistently average. There's no flash. He's very situational at the moment, but he's the player that if I had to place a bet on, at some point in his career, he could be a starter.
As a 7th rounder, obviously, like a late.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be a little bit higher because he's a QB, and I've only got 10 of them in my list. But very starter capable with managed risk. My one line on him, because obviously I did put him in, is not the most flattering, I'll be honest with you.
But you'd still take him with a 2-3-8.
It's a developmental quarterback whose NFL viability depends on growth in processing speed and anticipation rather than an immediate fit. So he doesn't need to go into a situation and be like, plug and play. This is not this guy. This guy is somebody who's going to be a camp body. He's going to be on the practice squad.
Yeah.
But
and he's going to earn his stripe.
2-3 years, yeah, he could do kind of like what like Malik Willis did, where obviously he was drafted high, but then disappeared and then popped up as a backup, got a bit of starting.
There's a few of those in the NFL, and I think it's a growing trend in the NFL of quarterbacks, being taken later and being allowed to sit. So, and this is the draft to do it in. So Miller Moss, you heard it here first, or Jack Strand, depending on who you trust more, out of me and Anth.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Miller Moss is not going to the Jets, I'll be honest with you.
No. I don't think Jack Strand is either.
It's one of those where I'm just like, there's something about this guy that just without statistics in it, it's a good fit to many places. But I'd love to see him behind, like, I don't know, like a Jared Goff or somebody like that, just for a couple of years.
And see if he can't provide extreme value. Yeah. Extreme value. If you got a guy in the 5th, 6th round, let him sit for a couple of years, and then he takes over the franchise. What a piece of business that is for whoever the GM.
He's going to end up at Green Bay now you've said that.
Eh?
He's going to end up at Green Bay.
Yeah. Green Bay, yeah, exactly. One of those teams. Anth, this has been an absolute pleasure.
It's been emotional.
We've covered everything. For anyone who's asking about special teams, we didn't do a special teams video because our special teams is just so ridiculously awesome, and there's not really any threat of any big sea changes. Plus, let's be honest, if you're talking about a lens that looks at the draft, you're looking at other positions, really.
I mean, I might just mess on and just put one up in like 2 weeks' time.
There you go.
We won't do a video. We'll just upload it because
we'll just upload it. Yeah, but however, the lens is going to be available.
A last note is that Nick Folk is actually a free agent, but we will probably re-sign him and bring in a kicker.
Yeah, we're going to bring Nick Folk back. Obviously, Austin the Great isn't going anywhere. Our return specialists were very good as well. So, and of course, Hennessy's been around for a long time. So, we love our special teams. And from Gangrene UK, thank you very, very much for all the time you've taken putting this thing together. As usual, comment a name in under the video, whether you look on Facebook or YouTube, and Anth will get into it, or download the Jets Lens yourself and have a play. Once again, mate, from the Facebook page.
Yeah, it'll be in the files feature at the top.
Files feature at the top of the Gangrene UK Facebook page. You can download it yourself, you can have a play, or you can make Anth do all the work for you and throw a name in the comments. I'm certainly going to be having a play with it and using it. I've already used it to help me with some mocks, and my mocks are getting better because of the lens. So I appreciate it. I'm sure all other Jets fans appreciate it as well, mate.
Pleasure.
Great. Thank you very much. And we will. I'm sure we'll all look forward to what Gangrene UK does ahead of the draft and into the new season.
Yep, lots going on.
Well, we'll get into that in due time. And thank you very much. And
Cheers,
God bless. Have a great day. And JETS, guys.
Let's go.